Boiler Williams from Hitman Credit. I want to talk to you today about free letters to repair your credit. Is there such a thing? Yeah, there's a lot of free letters out there on the internet that you can download. Um, these letters can fix your credit. Yep, sure can. A lot of these are the same, so be careful when you send in letters that you get off the internet, including the ones that I'm about to show you. Just be careful and change the wording a little bit so that you're not cookie cuttering. I don't know if that's a word. If you're not just duplicating the same things that everybody else is sending in. So even if it's something, just changing it a little bit, like if the word says quickly, say fast, or just changing a couple words in there so that it's not exactly the same. But I would suggest that you use your own words. Just take the frame that people are giving you and twist it a little bit to not only fit your situation, but also to not be identical to everybody else, because you don't want your letter to look exactly like everybody else's, because then it looks like you're just trying to repair your credit instead of you have a legitimate beef. So let's talk about the things that you always should do when you send in letters. Okay, so always make a copy. So when I do my dispute letters, when I send in any letters, when I send debt collector letters, any letters, I make a copy. So I used to make a copy like an old school photocopy kind of copy, and yeah, I still have files of letters that I've sent for various reasons. But this is electronic age, and it's probably better just to scan them and have a place on your hard drive, or better yet, on your Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever it is that you use, someplace that's safe, so that if your computer goes on the fritz, that you won't really lose anything. So always keep a copy somewhere. So there's a little bit of an argument about whether to handwrite these or type these. So I've been to credit repair companies that have a back room where there are people that sit back there and handwrite these letters all day. I can't imagine how boring of a job that is, but there are people out there that do that. There are credit repair companies that do that. So they've told me, and they believe that they're much more effective when they're handwritten. So what I would suggest to you is type a few, handwrite a few, see how it works for you. The experts that I've talked to are kind of divided on whether you should handwrite them or not. The other thing that they do is they handwrite the envelope, and they actually use a stamp on there. So a physical stamp instead of just dropping it off and having it run through a machine. So that's another thing that you might want to think about doing, is handwriting all of your envelopes and putting real stamps on there. The other thing that I always do is I send everything certified. It's just a couple more bucks to have it done, but I've read so many people say it's a waste of money. But if you go to court, you're going to have proof that you sent, your debt collector or the credit reporting agency, you sent them something. You have the proof. You have the little green piece of paper. So I always do, if you're tight for money, initially maybe you don't want to do that for the first couple letters that you send out about credit repair, but I would strongly consider sending everything certified. I do. So with that, let's look at my book. My book's free. You can go to hitmancredit.com and download my book. And what I want to do is cut and paste letters out of my book and explain them and put them into Word, and then we'll get them, change the words in there a little bit so that it's not cookie cutter, and obviously you'll see where to change your address and the account numbers and things like that. So let's get started with that. So the first thing I want to show you in my book is on page 59. When I send in documents, I always send in last page that has 2 IDs on it. So I take a picture of my driver's license and my social security number card right there, the social security card. So those are my 2 IDs. You can see some other ones in here. I would try not to use military ID unless that's all you have. Sometimes they take it and sometimes they don't. Just kind of a iffy thing, and you don't want to have to rewrite all these letters. So try to use your driver's license and social security card if you can. Check out the other things there that you can use. We talked about most of this, so let's get right into the letter. It's on page 63. So let's slide on down to 63. So this is the first letter that we send, This letter disputes any names or addresses that aren't your normal name and normal address. So we normally dispute old addresses. If you used to live at 123 Main Street, we dispute that. If your maiden name's on here, I would dispute that. If you are a junior and you never use the term junior on your name, dispute it if it says junior or two or any of those variations of junior. Or if you're the senior, same thing. Anything other than one name that you go by, dispute them all. All the addresses dispute. The only address other than your main address that I wouldn't dispute is if you have credit statements sent to your place of employment. For example, if you work in a car shop and you have your Discover card bill sent to your car shop, that address is going to show up on your credit report, and I just leave that one alone. But I would dispute all of them other than your main address and your workplace if you get bills there. So I cut and pasted this letter and cleaned up the spacing a little bit. When I cut and pasted it, it didn't look perfect. So anyhow, you put the date on there, the Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, or whoever you're going to send this to, your name and address, and then this is basically just saying that there's names that don't belong to you on there. So as I said previously in this video, change the wording a little bit in here. Just change the way it says it, and then go on to exactly what you're disputing. If it's on page 16 of your credit report that you got, say on page 16, I dispute, the name William Smith, and then keep going down the list, and don't do more than 6 of them. If you have more than 6 issues, you're going to have to send 2 dispute letters, but don't have any disputes going at the same time on this. So it might take a little bit of time to get this done, but you will. This letter is very simple to do. I also put the date, my date of birth on there. So put your date of birth on the end there. And some people say not to sign these, but I sign them. I don't really have a problem with that. So I wouldn't worry about it. Sign it and send it out like we talked about, send it certified. So a real similar letter is the next one, where after you've disputed your addresses and all the different names that you have on your credit report, then we start disputing negative information. And you can see this on page 65. So again, just cut and paste this into a Word document, change the accounts to be the accounts that you're disputing. This one says these are not my accounts. So I'm disputing that these 3 accounts here are mine, and sign it. And again, stick those 2 IDs to the end of it. So it really is just cutting and pasting and changing a few things there, here and there, so that your letter's a little bit unique. Well, that's all there is to putting letters together and sending them out for your first set of dispute letters. So you'll probably have to do this a couple times with different debts. Some of them are going to come back as verified. That happens all the time. I have no idea how they verify some of these things, but they do. They say they do, at least. So you may find yourself sending in a couple of these letters on the same debt. So just keep after it. If you send out more than, say, 3, then you probably need to change your approach. So we'll take the second step there. But initially, these are the letters that you need to send out. So get sending them out. If you need any help, please contact me at boiler@hitmancredit.com. Come to my website. Enjoy the book. I made it free for you. Thanks. Have a great day.